Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of Pocketshooters, Mastering Mobile Photography. I am your host, one of your hosts, Frederick Van Johnson. My awesome Texas-based host over there, Julio Shorio, is hanging out with me. They're holding the fort down. What's going on, G?
Howdy.
Howdy. I don't know if that's I don't know if saying howdy is even legal in California. I don't know.
they look at you strange here too. They're like, "You're not from Texas, are you?" Like, no. They're like, "Don't say howdy."
Yeah, don't say howdy.
I grew up in the desert. I grew up in Arizona, so we kind of did howdy there too. But you know, whatever.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. Well, it is good to be back sitting with you again. This episode, we're going to be talking about something that's kind of the antithesis of mobile, which is printing. Printing your photographs from mobile. Why would you want to do that? And can you even do that? So, G, do you print? Do you print anything out of your mobile, out of your phone?
Well, let me do my rapper pose and be like, yes.
Which rapper was that?
Well, you know, like the rappers have like they have like 5 poses. You know, one of them was like they're like thinking, they're like, I'm thinking about all that money.
Those might be Texas-based rappers. I haven't seen
or whatever. You know, I mean, I kind of look like a Jewish rapper in some ways.
The Jewish rapper.
So, do I print? I do actually. I really have a good time making prints from my iPhone, and I know a lot of people will be like, "What, Julio?" And you're like, "You shoot for screens. You make prints." I do. The thing is, printing. I love printing, and I grew up with making prints with film and stuff. Printing is kind of like the 3D printer for photographs before there was 3D printers. I mean, now you have something on your screen that becomes something tangible in your hand. I do make printing. I use a couple. I use this one service in particular and one device in particular to make my printing, and I like them a lot.
I want to hear about that. Okay, so the service that you use for printing, what is it?
I use a service called Artifact Uprising.
I've heard of them.
Yes, they were purchased by Visco or VSCO, depending on who you are. And they will make prints. They'll make books, and like loose prints, all sorts of cool stuff right from your phone. And will print from your Instagram feed. And I did this I did a test book, and you know what? It came out really good. There are these beautiful square books. They're, I don't know, like a 6x6 book. I think they're like $25 shipped. And they're quite nice. The paper is beautiful. The work is done. And you just pull right from your Instagram feed or upload individually. And actually, I just ordered a bunch of prints of my baby and to give out to people. I like them that much.
So you can plug it into your Instagram feed and have them pull the images directly from there. So you don't necessarily have to upload directly to them again if you've already uploaded to Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're like, oh, where is that photo? I posted on Instagram. What I need to find? You don't need to find it again. You just go right to your Instagram feed, and you can pay with Apple Pay too. So it is so easy. Like the last time I ordered stuff, I was like, baby in one hand, phone in the other. I'm like ordering. I go to pay, Apple Pay with my thumb. Boom, shipped. It's great.
That's cool. So then, okay, from a so let's call it an advanced amateur standpoint. When you're looking at these and you're looking at using an online service like Artifact Uprising or some other service to print, one of the questions that would come up is, okay, well, how do you know, there's this whole thing of color correction and having the colors that you actually see on your phone be the colors that show up in the mail, and how does that piece work? Or is it just kind of like roll a dice and they get it good?
Yeah, I think this is more of like playing, like my dad would say, being an adventure person. So allow it to be spontaneous and fun. We're not making fine art prints. I mean, I'm sure there's a service that can do that, but
sure.
With Artifact Uprising, it's more so. It's like where I make my family photos, and I think I may start using them though for photo promos, making like little mini portfolios and mailing those out to prospective clients. Everybody I know that works in the industry and that uses them just for fun loves the service. The image quality is good. Is it matching exactly my iPhone? I don't know. I haven't actually put them side by side, because when I'm giving that to somebody, they're not going to be like, okay, before I look at this, Julio, can I look at your iPhone and see if it matches up?
Right.
But you cannot, there is no calibration system for iOS.
And if it's coming from, yeah, that's like an impossible moving target, because if they're pulling from Instagram, the shots that are there, you've already, you know, if people have been putting filters on them and doing all this stuff, it's like, it's a moving target anyway to get accurate color. And who's to say what accurate color is if you're throwing random filters on your image anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just think of it as in a way as a Polaroid print, but the quality of the camera, I mean, is good enough. You only really need about a good 8 megapixel image for a magazine cover. You know, getting a 6x6 image printed like on a nice matte paper, which matte paper will disguise any kind of flaws, whatever. But if the quality is good, you should give them a try. They do promos often. I think if you sign up, which is free, I think you get like a discount to start. But it's awesome.
Okay, so that's an online service. This is one of the things that I use for offline printing. You may have seen this. Oh, this, I know my light's bright here, so it probably just looks like a blown out thing. But this is called the Fujifilm Instax Instax Share SP1, and it is a printer. This is a little printer that you can connect to your iPhone or Android device and spit out prints from it. And they're like little tiny miniature Polaroid prints that are about, this is a pack that goes in it. And you just put them in there and you connect through Bluetooth. Is it Bluetooth or Wi-Fi? You connect wirelessly to the printer from your phone and say, yeah, I want this one, make a print. And it pops out the top and you can hand them out to people. It is amazing how giving someone a physical print, how different that is than just emailing them. Like if you're giving pictures to people of your newborn, right? And you could email them, but the act of emailing, you're like, oh yeah, that's a nice picture, very cool, thanks G, you know. But if you physically hand them one or mail them one, it's a whole different world when you're transferring, you know, atoms versus just the electrons, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's a tangible item. You know, paper has its feel, its smell, and I don't know. It's something that when you made a print, especially though it's instant, it's like, oh, Frederick's actually taking the time to kind of give a damn.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like handwriting a letter to someone these days. Like,
yeah, you know? it works great for street photography. I know a lot of street photographers that use portable printers, myself included, to when you photograph somebody, say, hey, let me make your photo, you know, you get excited, whatever, you connect with them, make the photo, and then, you know, you want to email it to them, you could, and you should do that so you can connect with them like on Instagram and whatnot. But then it's like, hey, let me give you a copy. They love it. I mean, it's fun. It's a nice gesture. It's like, I care enough at least to make you an instant print, for God's sakes, you know. It's super cool. I use a different printer though. I use the Impossible Instant Lab.
Ooh. What is that?
The bottom of it looks like a Polaroid printer, and it's got bellows, and you kind of pull it up, and your phone, the phone screen, or your iPad even becomes the light source, and you expose it. The app does all the exposure information so that the iPhone gives the film enough light, and boom, spits out a real Polaroid image,
like a traditionally sized Polaroid.
Traditionally sized, yep, 669 Polaroid. And you can get different types of film, color, black and white. I have some that are like black and white that are like actually black and yellow. So the highlights are, I believe, yellow, and then the blacks are black, and cool borders. And I will bring that around specifically if I'm at a coffee shop where like a lot of interesting people look, or the interesting looking people hang out. I'll bring the printer and I'll start making prints. I'll make like one or two. And then people are like, oh, what is that? Then they come to me. We have a conversation. I chat with them. It allows me to get their portrait, right? So, oh, let me make one for you. Great. They're not going to be like, no, I don't want an awesome Polaroid print. They're like, yeah. And then, I get a rad shot, Polaroid print. Boom. Now you have a real human connection. And then the app will actually allow you to scan the Polaroid back in, so you get a digital version that crops and the perspective and makes it nice and tidy.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, that's one of the, and these are just two different ways, right, of getting cool prints out of your phone. One of the cool things about shooting and using the Instax, and I would say the Impossible Instant Lab as well, is that digital piece. Because if you're, say, shooting with a Polaroid camera, a normal, if you can find one of the instant cameras where you take a photo and it pops out of the front, even with the Instax printer or the Instax cameras. So Fujifilm makes an Instax camera that also takes this kind of these print paper films, and you take photos, it gives you the print, but then it's gone after that. So it's kind of like, you know, you could give someone a print instantly, but there's no digital backup. There's no digital version of that. If you do it with your phone and use one of these guys, the picture's on your camera roll forever, and you can continue making prints as long as you want. In fact, with this Instax SP1, and I believe they have an SP2 out now as well, there's a reprint button on the side here too. So if you print something, you're like, oh, that's a great shot. And so then the guy or woman's like, yeah, can I get one for my spouse too? You just hit the reprint button and it reprints the last photo as many times as you keep hitting that button until it runs out of paper. So it keeps the last image data in buffer or in the memory so that you can just hit it again. So
that's a very cool feature.
Yeah, it is cool. It is cool. So you can just keep cranking them out as long as you want without saying, you know, print on your phone over and over again. Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. So lots of printing choices. What about traditionally printing? So most people have laser printers or jet printers at home. Should they consider using those to print their photos?
I mean, if you got one, give it a shot. The iPhones and I think some of the Androids have wireless printing capabilities built in.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, by all means, give it a shot. I mean, you know, if you're not using your inkjet printer, if you're going to go use it one day, it's going to be all clogged up anyways. Yeah. Then you're like, oh, I got this paper. I'm going to go buy another set of ink, and it's like $80. So, you know, if you have an inkjet printer, go ahead and use it and see what happens. It can't hurt. It can't hurt.
Yeah. These I think people will be surprised. I think the pocket shooter audience will be surprised at if you. I would say most people, 99% of the photos that you take with your iPhone or your Android phone, you share digitally, or they just live on your camera roll forever and you forget about them. But if they do manage to get out of the gravity of that black hole that is your camera roll, and they make it out into the world, usually that journey is to Instagram or to Facebook or through email or something like that. But still, they remain digital. So you can break the mold and